My cat's licking its butt back behind me.
Oh my gosh, dude! I'm looking at this thing on Facebook where they have this big, I don't know what it is, but it's of Donald Trump, and he looks like he's squatting and his butt's hanging out with his pants pulled down to his knee, and people are running up behind him, literally kicking him in his ass. That's messed up. They need to stop. They need to stop. Anyways, what's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 75 of Breaking the Baits. Me and Ken are once again on the scene talking about what we like talking about, which is video games, books, television, movies, any of that just awesome media out there. A discussion, one kind of like the one we just had. And without further ado, I'm going to let Ken go ahead and start it off if he wants me, unless he wants me to start it off.
I got the last one. It's your turn.
All right, then, since we're on it right now, let's talk about what I had just seen. We just discussed about the Jumanji trailer. And just give me, what do you think about the Jumanji trailer?
I don't know. I'm still kind of in the air. I love the original movie. I love the concept. I liked everything about the original. This one is, instead of the board game, it's a video game in which 4 teenagers who are in detention are supposed to be cleaning up a mess, select one of 4 characters in this video game. And I don't know. I would like to see, it's going to be in the video game style. So obviously the characters have some, as each, like, you know, you play your video games, each character has like some kind of unique ability. I can't think of the girl who plays Nebula. She's playing the redhead in this movie, but she looks like she's got some badass skills in here.
Yeah.
Jack Black's in it. He's actually a female character in a male role. Yeah. And it's the little preppy girl that's in Jack Black's character. So that might be interesting. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out.
I think it's definitely a new take. And I think also that it's more of a modern take because, you know,
it's definitely a modernized version of it.
Yeah. Back when we were growing up, yeah, we played board games, but people don't play them like that much anymore, like that. So I guess the video game, but the video game is kind of stupid too. It's interesting, I would give it that, but it's still kind of stupid.
Well, let's see. I mean, they had to
from the board game to the video game. Like, I can understand, like, the board game having some kind of mystical element to it, but then you got the video game. It's like, and then I didn't even recognize what system that was.
It wasn't. To me, it looked like an old Atari 2600, but you know, it's very iffy. I think it was just to make it look old. So Atari, something along those lines, would be right along the money.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, they've got some good actors in it. You know, Kevin Hart, The Rock, or Dwayne Johnson. I cannot think of her name at the moment. And Jack Black. I'm just completely drawing a blank.
She played on Doctor Who.
She was Doctor Who. She played many things here recently. I didn't realize she was Nebula.
Yeah. Oculus too. In fact, she was in the movie The Circle that came out this year.
Didn't know that. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I liked the original. It was good. It was fun. It was creative. It was different. We'll see if the movie has the same magic that the Robin Williams Jumanji had. I know there's supposed to be some what do you call it? References to the original Jumanji movie in there. So something like they find his house or his tree house and a couple other things that are out there. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. I mean, they got some big actors. Maybe it'll work for, I guess.
I want to bring something else up. Now, I usually don't like talking about people's opinion. I don't like trying to discuss people's opinions on this show, just general hours. But have you ever heard of a woman called Anita Sarkeesian?
Nope, doesn't ring a bell at all.
She's this like ultra just over the top feminist, and all she does is complain about like video games, like how men dominate the video game industry rather than developing it or actually the characters within the video games. And I'm like listening to this girl, and I'm like, in every game that comes out, she complains about it. If there's a main chick in it, if there's a woman in a game, and that woman is not the main character, and she ain't kicking ass 24/7, 365 days a year with no weaknesses, this girl complains about it. And I watched a couple of her videos, and I'm like, you and this feminist crap need to get the hell on, because I understand that you could say there are male chauvinists and players, developers. Fine, I can give you that. You know what I'm saying? But stop. And if you're trying to push your way in for women to be able to make video games and to enjoy video games, fine, I get that. But all of this useless complaining about everything that comes out. I heard she made a big snuff about did you hear about the new Legend of Zelda that came out?
I haven't seen the Legend. Is that the one that came out for the Switch?
Yeah, Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
She complained about that.
But I haven't played it.
Like she complained. I'm like, I got several lists of female characters in video games that just straight up kick ass. And I'm like, how many more video games do you need? It's like her type of like feminist is scary, because she's one of those chicks that is like, I hate men. Men literally don't deserve to have any rights. Every game from now on should be female dominated, like every single one of them. If there's a male villain, the male villain shouldn't even get a moment to make the female protagonist look good. I mean, look bad.
They need to get some.
And I was just scrolling through it. And yeah, like that. I'm like, look, I understand she got her opinion. I'm not ranting on girl about her opinion, but let's just call it what it is. What she's saying is just kind of stupid. I don't even know how many video games I got. Half the games, or the female's the main protagonist. Half the games, the male's the main protagonist. So it's like, what is she talking about? There's like a huge jump from in female dominated games. It is what it is, and I don't understand like this chick like that. I mean, come on.
No, people just have to find something to always go over the top with, and it could be any. There's not enough black superheroes. There's not enough white superheroes. Not enough Latino superheroes. There's not enough female. There's not. It just goes on and on and on and on. It's like, really, and there are some areas that could be, definitely improved in cinema and stuff. I mean, was the movie that just came out, the women who were working on the space program. God, I can't think of the movie.
Man. I can't remember the name of the movie.
But it was black female actors and stuff in the movie, that had a role. But it's also in bringing back the fact that there were all these unsung heroes that people never knew about. These women literally created programming, or partially created programming for the space program that got our astronauts to Apollo. They weren't even recognized, within their own community, but, I didn't know about them. No idea. So it's great to see, history bringing out these people, and movies bringing out these characters, or I want to say, we're talking cameras. We're talking these people that were part of history that are just unsung heroes, and there are many of them.
I'm scrolling down this post, the Red Band Cult of Chucky trailer.
Oh no!
Another Chucky movie, The Cult of Chucky.
Yes, really? Yes. Just saw something about that a little while ago.
Now, me and MademB shot a Breaker Debates a while ago about the Chucky series, the Child's Play series. Gave our initial thoughts about it. Okay, I'm not gonna look at the trailer now. I'm just gonna give us my thoughts. what the hell do we need another Chucky movie for? I'm one of those people that would like to see more. But in this case, I think more needs to be less.
Chucky is done. Ew.
Well, it's just like Friday the 13th. How many times you have to use power tools to kill somebody, and how many movies do you have to keep coming back?
And we talked about that too with the Friday the 13th series we shot. And look, I don't mind it if it's a good story. This ain't the 80s. It can't.
But see, they're not catering to that though. That's the thing. There's people that make movies like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Chucky, or Child's Play series. What's the other ones?
Halloween.
Halloween, exactly. It's already been remade 3 times. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. How many times has that been remade? You know, each one is just a little bit different, more modernized, but it's the same freaking story. But it's just, they don't make them for story. They make them for this quick slasher films. That's exactly what they are.
After what was the last Chucky movie?
Bride of Chucky?
Curse of Chucky?
Yeah, after that one, I really wish they would have stopped and didn't make that one, because to me it didn't make no sense at all. But there needs to be no more Chucky. I mean, he's done. I mean, they just trying to they're trying to come back and get a little quick thrill. And
well, they have it's kind of like an underground following. You have those people who follow the Friday the 13th series, Chucky, all this, and they're just trying to cater to that crowd to get that last bang of the buck. But like Child's Play, the first one was like, well, okay, that's pretty damn creepy. And then, they had several other ones, but all those were just trying to hack on the people who loved the storyline. The little doll that came back. It was like, what? Come on.
And like I said, I'm good with if you can make it a good story. Just if you can make it a good story, fine. I can get behind it.
Okay, so was the Curse of Chucky a good story?
It was. I don't want to say it was a good story. It was started in a good direction because it felt more. It was more compact. So these people are in this house and all this stuff is going on. Fine, I can get behind that. Chucky comes back. He starts killing them off one by one. I could get behind that. There was a lot of problems, specifically characters' work were crap. There was some problems with the script. Some of the deaths were stupid.
Okay, but the reason why he came to that particular house after all this time is ridiculous. And the reason why he did all that in the first place is ridiculous.
Yeah, wasn't he like
wanted the love of a woman he couldn't have?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was stupid. And in place, it sets all of these movies. And then it comes back. That is the reason why Chucky is doing what he's doing. I don't think so.
No, I think it set. I'm gonna get your opinion on this too, Ken. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I think it did make sense. I mean, as far as them tying it up, how it got set up in the first place, I can honestly get behind it because it didn't make sense. It was like a good origin story to me. He was obsessed over this chick.
No.
And him obsessing over this chick got him doing. I mean, he was already killing people, but got him in the crosshairs with old dude. Old dude caught up to him and killed him. I could get behind that, honestly.
Okay, but if they would have put a little bit more into the woman or the reason why he just saw her and would automatically fell for her.
I told you that was one of the problems. The characters.
So that was the only thing. Yeah, him the leading up to it, in the first Chucky, and then the second one, I guess, and then hell, Andy got too damn old, so he decided to go on to somebody else. So,
what do you think about that, Ken? I don't know if you've seen the Curse of Chucky.
Ken, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I didn't. You have more say in the Chucky movie than I have because I think I've only seen the first one. I didn't get really into that series at all, and I've never even seen a Friday the 13th movie. I've never.
My jaw dropped, man.
I I have seen partial of Jason in Space.
Interesting
If that is the worst, moment of time, but I don't know why it was just on, but I never really had an interest in any of the Friday the 13th. I did see some of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, but I'm just not a big horror fan. It's just not my gig. But if you ask my other half or you ask the kids here, they watch that movie. They like Conjuring and all that. I mean, they watch all the dark, scary, crazy, seedy movies and stuff, and that's their lives.
This is what I say about the Friday the 13th series. And I did say it when we were doing when we did the Breaker debates over them. My main problem was the characters and like the characters in the script. Most of the characters were the flattest characters you can ever come up with. I mean, they were obviously characters that were going to die. Because what was one of the things I pointed out? Every movie they did the same thing. They go there. All they talk about was Camp Crystal Lake. That would be the only thing they'd ever talk about. They wouldn't say, "Hey, how's your mom doing? I ain't seen you in a long time." It's like these two friends ain't seen each other in 20 years. Would go to Camp Crystal Lake and just talk about Camp Crystal Lake. And,
remember when a guy got cut with a chainsaw?
Yeah, and I was like, and another thing that got me, because it always takes the tension out, and I pointed out then. Every time every movie. People were dying, but nobody knew. And it's like, okay, where's the tension? How are they going to know to fight for their life if they don't know people are getting killed? Exactly. And it's like, and it always dropped down to like the last two people before they actually had to fight Jason. And it happened. And what happened? It literally happened every movie.
Yeah, they came to, I guess it seemed like every movie was it was like near Camp Crystal Lake, but it didn't seem like it. Like, okay, this is what this could be in Ohio, and this movie like it could be in somewhere else. But it's Camp Crystal Lake or 2 miles from Camp Crystal Lake or something. And the counselors were dicks. And wasn't no kids. Like,
yeah. And remember another thing I had said? Camp Crystal Lake was never like it never felt consistent. Like when you watch I can't think of a movie right now, I ain't gonna try. But if you have several movies set in the same place, there'll be certain features of that same place in every movie. So you'll know that's where they're at. But in those movies, it didn't feel like Camp Crystal Lake in every movie. It was like, in the first movie, they was on the north side of the lake. And the second movie, they're on the south side. The third movie, they're in the middle of the lake. And it's like, but we don't know. Like, ain't there a rock or something that they should know? I mean, the only thing you see was maybe a sign.
And it's spelled differently every time.
Yeah, somebody else's blood this week.
And the only movie that they had, and I don't want to talk too much about it because I got pissed off after a while. The only movie they had that kind of changed up that formula a little bit. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Jason X, that changed the formula up. It did.
No, we're at summer space camp this time.
Jason Takes Manhattan. Because about half the characters got killed before the people started realizing they were getting killed. And then it became like a chase because Jason started going after them. I don't know how the hell he was finding them in that big ass city. And
That's what I always wondered about some movies.
And I don't understand why he chased specifically them.
Exactly.
But
I'm talking about Manhattan now. So come on. He was walking through crowds looking like shit. Nobody stopped.
Literally.
Would you stop somebody who looked like that? Huh? Damn, let that dude keep on going. He looked like he got in a car wreck or something.
I don't know. I'd probably be in the corner and be like, ooh,
somebody gonna die.
He was like, he wasn't chopping, slicing everybody. He was wanting them.
Yeah, why do you want them specifically? What, because they touch Camp Crystal Lake or something?
If I was him, I'd
They have
probably
like a travel guide in your back pocket for Camp Crystal Lake.
They didn't revive him. The people before him revived. Before them revived.
On a boat?
Yeah. I'm on a boat. I'm on a mother boat. Sorry, that was Lonely Island.
Anyway,
Terrible.
No, we were just shooting. We were just talking about some things. Also, I wanted to ask you this too: if they could come out with a Batgirl movie, who would you cast in that role?
Ooh, see, I was just reading some stuff too. I don't know who would be a good Batgirl. I'm trying to think of somebody off the hand. I think actually they need they need to bring in somebody that's not out there. They need to bring in some fresh face for Batgirl. Don't bring an existing person in.
Oh, I am seeing that picture with Cameron Monaghan, the guy from Gotham, who's supposed to be Carnage.
Yep.
Okay,
well, they're talking about it.
Yeah. It looks pretty cool.
I think he would fit very well because he looks very much like the character out of the comic too.
Yeah, he really does. Oh, snap.
They're gonna get one of them Disney kids to play Batgirl.
No, we don't need no bit.
Disney? What? Come on. People was like, let's have Emilia Clarke play Batgirl. She's not the body type for it. Hell, Nebula, the girl who plays Nebula, would stand a better chance of playing Batgirl than
Miley Cyrus. They gonna get her.
No one would go. No one would even respect that movie.
No,
they're gonna get her because she's coming out again. They're gonna get her to play the Batgirl.
She's cast in the new light.
Chloe Martinez would stand a better chance than freaking her. And man, that's terrible. Miley Cyrus is Batgirl.
Let me look at Screen Rant. Screen Rant comes up with some pretty interesting things. I'm not going through 15 actresses, but I go through a couple of them. Evan, Rachel Wood, don't know her.
She played the queen out of. She's the girl that plays in Westwood. Or Westworld.
Yeah, hell is that? Oh.
Sounds like the Margarina.
That was it.
Can I ask y'all something?
You go ahead while I'm looking at Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I would vote for her because I love her. Go ahead.
Maybe her.
But all these kind of reboots and all that going on, how likely is it they'll do maybe another? Okay, they did Wonder Woman. What about another Catwoman?
I highly doubt they're going to do another Catwoman.
Not anytime soon, I think. I think they burned that one out with Halle Berry.
I kind of liked it because it was going in a good direction. I didn't say it was going in a good direction because the direction it went fell a couple stories down. But it had some elements I liked. As far as them possibly making another Catwoman movie, I do not see it coming.
No, they burned that one out.
Or if they did make a Catwoman movie, it can't be as simply a standalone. It had to be with the DC extended universe. I could get behind that because they did make Suicide Squad. I like Suicide Squad, so I wouldn't mind seeing the Catwoman movie.
What about any others?
Like who?
Anna Kendrick.
I don't know who that is.
She's the one from
the heroes and villains in DC and Marvel.
Yeah.
Ashley Greene, the girl who played Alice Cullen in Twilight, which is
Sparkly.
I go with her. I would say Zoe Kravitz, but Zoe Kravitz always plays a white girl. I don't care what nobody says. Emma Stone, yes, I would vote for her. And Jane Levy, I love her too.
Jane Levy is like one of the #1 choices.
Batgirl
right
cast.
now. A couple other people they throw up there: Allison Brie, Alexandria. I don't even know how to say that. Daddario. She was the one from Percy Jackson.
Oh, I didn't see Percy Jackson.
Oh, good series.
I
really liked it. You'll enjoy it.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Scarlett Johansson.
Maybe Batwoman, not Batgirl.
Yeah, she's already stuck in that character, Black Widow. She's not going to get out of that.
No,
not anytime soon. And there's Jane Levy again. They've hit her twice now in a couple of these runs.
We still ain't seen that Ghost in the Shell movie.
It wasn't bad. I need the version I had. Some of the translations didn't come through, and I was kind of sad about that.
Oh, snaps. Oh, I want to also bring this up because me and you've seen. We can go ahead and bring this back up because I did want to do a video about this. But hell, let's talk about it now. Underworld. Okay. Let's talk about Underworld. Did you see the 5th movie?
No, I have not.
Well, we can't talk about it. Ken.
We got spoiled. No, we can't
spoil it.
You can go ahead and ruin it. Go ahead.
Well,
I haven't seen it yet. I think I read about it, so I probably have enough to talk about anyway. If I don't see the movie in that 2-week period, I'm not going to see it. And then I'll have to wait till it comes on DVD or Netflix, or I might run across it in some other form or fashion digitally, and then I'll watch it.
So what have you seen that we can talk about?
Ask. Either I've read it or I've seen it.
All right, let me ask you this then. I wanted to talk to y'all about this too, or specifically you, the X-Men movies.
Okay.
What can we? Yeah. What could they have done better with the X-Men movies?
Which ones?
All of them.
The original or the reboot?
All of them, even the Logan ones.
Even the Logan side shot? You really can't throw that into that pool of movies per se.
Oh man,
you can't because it's just a side story because most of the mutants are already dead in that series, or at least in the Logan series anyway. They're all dead except for whatever's left over, the few that are left over. But in the original series,
they didn't explain how they all died.
They were hunted down.
They could, dude. You can't kill all the mutants.
But you can take out a lot of them though.
Like,
and there was something about Xavier may have killed them too.
No, they said Xavier. He said Xavier killed all the ones that was at the school.
Yeah, and
I was like, that's a dick move, really.
Well, that's just he couldn't control himself anymore. He was going insane.
But this is one of my big problems with the X-Men series. The series itself is too many characters. Not enough focus. And it seemed like every movie always focused on Logan.
Well, Wolverine was their selling point.
Yeah, I understand it, but he took away from the character, the rest of the characters.
Yeah, if you have to do an X-Men, like our original X-Men with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen and all those guys. I like Magneto. I like Professor X. They fit the bill perfectly. Logan stepped right off the film. Jean Grey as Famke Jensen was good. The rest of the characters were most subsequent. They didn't, they just did what they did because they changed Scott Summers later on in the movie anyway. He changed to a different actor. But you're right. There is the original X-Men, your core. It's just like Justice League. You have that pretty much 7 core members. Just like you do with the X-Men. You have your core members and your core bad guys too. I mean, you have like 14 people that are like your known X-Men that everybody knows, everybody can relate to. And they tried to squeeze a lot into a very short period of time and try to make a viable movie. And you didn't get to develop anybody. I mean, the people you saw were Magneto, Wolverine, and Professor X. Those were your 3 gung-ho characters.
When in the first movie, it was those 3 plus Rogue's character.
Yeah, because they needed Rogue, but
then in the second movie, her character started falling off.
Yeah,
and that's one of my issues with the movies was the fact that all of these great characters, and they could not find a way to put them in there and make them like. Because think about it, the first movie. What the heck did any of the X-Men characters do? Actually, the Brotherhood characters were more interesting.
Yeah, because you had Sabretooth in there, you had Rogue, you know, and
Yeah.
again, she was a young kid then, you know, and Anna Paquin playing her.
And it sucked they never did anything with her character.
No, they never did, because Rogue is actually one of those really cool characters who is eventually ends up becoming able to fly, because I think she touches Miss Marvel or something and gets and retains her ability to fly.
And that's how she got her super strength and stuff.
You know, there's all this stuff that she can do, but again, you're flooded with the characters in there. I mean, Toad, who cares? Sabretooth.
I'm not gonna lie, old dude made Toad pretty badass.
But I mean, he's not even a really heavily mentioned character, even in the smaller series of the comics.
And that's why I said that he was one of the few characters in the X-Men series that like stood out. Maybe because he was the majority kicking their butts.
Well, it's Ray Park, Darth Maul. Come on, you know,
Ray Park.
I mean, he had to have that. Snake Eyes. I mean, come on, take a role. He's always playing some kind of badass character. But I mean, story supporting, he was just worthless.
Yeah. Okay, I can see what I think on that.
He didn't have anything to do. I mean, really, none of the characters really just kind of jumped out at you. You know, even in the second movie, you know, this with the well, actually, they could have had Alpha Flight mentioned in there, but it's just so hard. You with most of the Marvel universe, like say Infinity Wars, we've already had a Captain America movie, we've already had our Spider-Mans, we've had our, you know, each of those characters has mostly already had a separate movie and then combined into a team. Just like, you know, now we have Batman, we've had Superman, we've had Wonder Woman. We're going to have a Cyborg and a Flash movie, a Green Lantern movie. And then we have the Justice League movies. So all those characters have had their own independent movie and also a group movie. But the X-Men, you've never had
independent stuff.
There's never been an independent storyline on any of the characters. And the only one to be worth a damn was Wolverine.
Yeah.
And Dark Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe... Well, we saw Colossus with Deadpool, which is a minor role, but you know, that's it. That's all you've had with the X-Men series as any type of independent movies. You know, everything else has been Wolverine.
Yeah, and that was like one of the biggest things that I thought that they was going to do a lot better on, because especially with the second movie. Now, me personally, my favorite two out of all of them is First Class and X2. And even and with First Class, they did better with their characters. But the characters that they had that fell off for me were the villains. Kevin Bacon as Sebastian Shaw was great. The rest of his crew, I mean, they had cool powers, but I'm like, none of them really talked. None of them had like motivations or goals that they spoke about, except for the lady that could turn into crystal. She was like the only one that talked.
Diamonds.
Yeah, Diamonds.
Well, she was actually in the X-Men 2 or X3. No,
she was in X-Men Origins.
But it was a younger version.
Yeah.
But see, X-Men, you know, First Class is basically a reboot, though, so it kind of threw all that in the kinks. So really, you could throw everything away in that whole series because it's all a complete reboot at this point.
Even like with X-Men Apocalypse, did you see the character, the chick that played Psylocke?
Yeah,
she was cool.
Olivia Munn. Olivia Munn.
Yeah. She didn't have really a role. I mean, she had a role, but she was not prominent.
She was just in there to be badass and wear a skimpy suit.
See, that's always been the problem with like almost all the X-Men movies. It's just that, okay, I can understand them. See, this is what it is. The X-Men series, the movies feel like they're standalones. They weren't planned as sequels. And That's why it seems like there's like a lot of inconsistencies.
Well, you've also had a reboot in the middle of all that going on too, but the only person who stayed consistent is Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, he's pretty him and Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, and Ian McKellen.
And yeah, them the only three characters.
But
and
then then you do the reboot, and now you've got Professor X. I think of the guy who plays him, but the younger version. And then you have
Michael Fassbender
as Magneto,
and Jennifer Lawrence
as Mystique,
and they're like the main crew now.
Yeah, and they carry it on, and they carry the series, and then you got the girl from Game of Thrones.
And most of the movies, it's like a new, like some characters you might see in one movie aren't carried over into the next movie. Nightcrawler was pretty cool in part 2. You don't see him in 3. They never mention him in 3.
Nope. There's not a lot of consistency, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And even with like the characters themselves, and I feel like this is one of the problems with the films also. It feels more like drama. It doesn't like the action sequence. Like there are very few action sequences that are like memorable. Like that I thought was like cool as hell. The Wolverine in the mansion fight in the second movie.
Yeah. That
was memorable. The Wolverine versus Rico, memorable. What was the other one? The Nightcrawler in the White House.
Yeah, awesome. that was awesome.
Yeah.
But it seems like they struggle with at least the X-Men series and that reference because you get a little. I mean, you have some consistency, but it's always like the same 3. But all the supporting characters constantly change, and then even when they finally get to a stable platform, then they reboot the whole damn thing. And you're like, well, crap.
Or if they're stable, they don't really do anything. They're not memorable.
You just have these quick, pop and jumps. It's great for people who know the obscure characters, but and it's just a brief nod to them, and then you just kind of walk away from them. Cyclops, literally that was just get Olivia Munn into a movie in a skimpy outfit. That's all that was.
Even Cyclops, what did he do in any of the movies? He didn't do nothing.
Damn thing.
He was probably the most underrated character.
And, I like Beast. Beast was great. Beast has actually been pretty decent in even in reboots. He's been pretty decent.
Yeah.
Mystique was much better, more in depth. You got a lot more behind her. But I mean, if you go by the comics, she's way older than them. I mean, she's way old.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't even a kid. They added that Xavier met her when she was a kid, or when he was a teen. She was a teen, but she was way older than him.
Who was another character that was actually pretty cool? Kitty Pryde.
Yeah.
When she actually kind of stepped out a little bit more and had more of a role, she was actually pretty cool.
But they didn't go anywhere. I mean, it was just a brief and that's it. Look at the Battle of the Sentinels in the second one.
Yeah.
They go in there and fight the Sentinels. The Sentinels were badass. They were like they were supposed to be.
I don't know who cast those characters to be like the final stand for mutant kind, but they were terribly mistaken. I don't see how the hell they made it they lasted that long. Maybe Storm, maybe Magneto, but the rest of them, no.
Well, they also had who was that guy in there? The guy who absorbs energy.
Bishop.
Yeah, Bishop.
Complete waste.
Yeah, they just had him in there and blip, they're gone.
And he didn't do anything cool at all.
No, he didn't. They were a tribute to the characters, and that was it. They walked away with it. So,
hey, Ken, next week, Madam B wants to know, you want to jump on some sci-fi movies?
Ooh, like what?
We can go best and worst.
But in what genre, though?
I guess it won't matter. I mean, we could go with sci-fi, horror, comedy, straight up sci-fi, space sci-fi, military sci-fi, and we'll just do it all.
I love sci-fi.
That'd be a couple of videos right there.
It depends on where you go, because you could do series. You could do like Battlestar Galactica. You could do old, new. You could do a lot of the newer series like Dark Matter and all kind of stuff.
On all of them.
You can do sci-fi series, sci-fi movies.
Cause I got like a few of them that I want to talk about. See if any of y'all have seen them.
Fire away. What's? Give me some names or some titles.
Like, what do you mean? Title of the movies?
Yeah, movies, series,
anything.
Just some couple of them.
I mean, I don't know if y'all ever watch the Sci-Fi Channel. I mean,
I do.
Just
that's where I get them off of. You know, like the animals, the animal sci-fi, the one like half piranha, half anaconda.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Those the cheesy kind of sci-fi.
The B-rated ones.
I don't even think those are B-rated, man. It's like
I don't know.
C plus maybe if you're lucky.
Bad.
Sharktopus.
Yeah.
I actually still want to see that. Sharknado.
Yeah.
Sharknado. Yeah, those are some
good discussion.
That's some god awful cheesy movies.
Go into some of y'all. I don't know if I've ever seen any of y'all sci-fi movies.
We'll definitely get into it next.
I enjoy a lot of the new series on sci-fi like Dark Matter, Killjoys, Battlestar Galactica, Reinvent. I don't watch as many as the cheesy sci-fi. I mean, I have seen a few. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Ice Trolls and God, I don't remember. You know, all these actors. What's funny is all the actors that were like in the big series like Battlestar Galactica reboot. Yeah. And all these other series, you know, you start seeing those actors popping up in the cheesy sci-fi movies because they have no other job.
Yeah.
You're like, why is that dude in there? This guy was a key character.
It's weird because you seem like if you've been in such a successful series, you could actually, I don't know, make your own.
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of these guys rehash. You know, Lou Diamond Phillips. I can't even tell you how many in the sci-fi movies, rehash movies he's been in. You know, Spiders from Outer Space, and God, I can't think of all the movies, but yeah, that'll be fun.
Okay, we got here next week. We're gonna be on them sci-fi movies.
We're gonna go on some cheesy B-rated, A-rated, and C-rated sci-fi movies.
Hey, y'all might hear me rant a little bit because I can't stand those movies.
I take them for what they are.
Sharknado was made simply. It knows what it is. It's ridiculous. It's stupid.
Well, it was made exactly. Sharknado was made for what it is. It's a cheesy sci-fi movie, and you know everybody kind of blames Sci-Fi Channel for all those crazy little movies. But you know what? Every now and then, one of those little cheesy sci-fi movies is actually pretty damn good.
Yes, and I have the perfect one. And
which one?
No, I'm gonna get on that next week.
Okay.
Boy, you got hooked into that one.
Yeah. Well, guess what? We might have to sit down and watch that Code of Chucky again. Hey, I was watching some reviews. Have you ever seen a Wishmaster series?
I've heard of it, but I've never watched them.
I want them to reboot that because it was an interesting series, and like they did all of those 80s and 90s horror movies, they're horribly, irreversibly screwed up with consistency. And Wishmaster is basically what this jinn comes into the modern day world, and he has to, the person that woke him up has to, you know, he needs 3 wishes. Mm-hmm. And after he gets the 3 wishes, I think the jinn can take over the world. But while he's trying to get those 3 wishes from the person that woke him up, he's like interacting with all these other people and getting their wishes. And you know, if you make a wish and you're not specific, it's open to interpretation. He'll kill you with a wish, with that wish.
Oops. Next person. What was the other? There was another series. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I think was it called Warlock?
Yeah.
He was a wit. Well, I mean, obviously, but he was working for the devil or something. He was doing all these crazy stuff and trying to find the name of God in all these books.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was one of those weird series I kind of ended up watching a couple episodes of, and I'm like, what? Why are they hitting the nail through the dirt? And it was basically just kind of combining old witch tales and some other stuff together with some medieval witch stories. I mean, it was an interesting concept, but it was just granted a C-rated, B-rated cheesy movie, but it was still interesting. Like I say, every now and then you get one of those little movies that just you're like, whoa, I would have never thought of that. And some low budget film just came up with it, and there they go.
Mm-hmm.
It's always interesting. You never know what's out there. Sometimes that original story is just floating around.
We don't have that much time left, but I will ask you this: the new Han Solo movie. Also, yeah, it's going to be a Han Solo movie. But also, I wanted to ask you: do you think we should have an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie?
Yes, you definitely need an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. You have to have. Well, let's go back to Han Solo. There was so much static about this movie right now in the Star Wars world because some of the news clips I've read is that the previous director, Han Solo, was way out of character. He's not that easygoing, cool guy that Harrison Ford played. Granted, this is supposed to be a younger version of Han Solo, so yes, he'll be younger, more reckless, not as experienced. And then that director got booted, and they brought in Opie. What's his regular name? I can't think of his name. Ron Howard is now on board to direct the rest of the movie and hopefully correct a lot of the mistakes the other guy was just making in the movie. Making Han Solo too cartoony, I guess, is the word I would like to use.
Speaking of going back to what we was talking about, the Catwoman movie, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Aiza Gonzalez, was that a name that you had said earlier, possibly being Catwoman?
It was a name I remember reading across.
Yeah, I just ran across it too. And she does look like Catwoman. So if there was one, I'm gonna go back and kind of read up on her a little bit to see what she got going on. But I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that.
See, now you just destroyed the whole chain of thought.
Man.
That's okay. Ron Howard has taken over from Han Solo into the Han Solo movie. There was a lot of questions and stuff going on, so the Christopher Miller and Phil Lord were the guys who were just running the show.
Sorry about that.
Zelda.
Yeah. No, that's Final Fantasy VII.
Oh. 8-bit. So,
I'm interested in seeing the Han Solo movie. I
would like to see him. I don't know.
I don't want him to act like the Han Solo everybody knows because it doesn't make sense. Let him develop into that character.
Well, he will be that character eventually, yes. But the way they were making him was just over the top, too cartoony, too, I don't know, they just didn't have that smoothness yet. And granted, I know that the character is going to be younger. Yes, he's going to be when he first gets the Falcon from Lando and all that good stuff. So, you have to take that into account, too. But if they were going too bad, too cheesy, I would lose interest in it very quickly. I was trying to find the article I saw earlier when you were talking about how they were kind of rating how the Han Solo character was being developed, and I wasn't really thrilled about what I was reading. So hopefully with Ron Howard on board now, they'll change that direction and fix it now so that it will be ready in a year and a half or 2 years, whenever it's supposed to come out. We still got episode 8 coming out here in December of this year. Woohoo! But they do need an Obi-Wan movie though, because I there's a lot of questions. If you watch Star Wars Rebels, there's a storyline that's continuing heading towards a meeting with Obi-Wan Kenobi coming up. So it's something that would be interesting to see in the theater if they were to carry on that storyline. What happened after Order 66 happened, And even if it's not completely solely geared towards Obi-Wan, he could be a main character, but he could be out there finding some of the other remnants of the Jedi Council or whoever may have even survived.
Yeah.
And kind of going along and what he was doing, in the background. Hear the beeper. But I would like to see an Obi-Wan series. I know a lot of people would like to see it. Han Solo was kind of a, really, you're going to go that route? But it could be interesting. It could be interesting. We'll see how the movies go.
I'm interested in seeing it.
Rogue One was great.
Yeah.
Rogue One was awesome. I liked it. And it wasn't tight. I mean, it was not the Luke, Leia, whatever. I mean, granted, we had Vader in there.
It was
badass.
But it felt, that was the Vader's most badass moment. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah, man, he just spanked those dudes. Like, when that lightsaber lit up in that hallway, I said, those dudes are screwed.
Yes. That's the first time Star Wars went from like action-y sci-fi to like horror.
Yeah, those dudes were like, oh my God. But it was also cool is when the Star Destroyer showed up and those ships were trying to jump out, and they just smashed right into the Star Destroyer, and he didn't even bat an eye. He was like, mow them. Mow every one of them suckers down. Kill them damn rebels. When that Star Destroyer showed up. That was pretty cool. I like that whole scene right there. And I would love to see just a separate Vader series.
I want that too. I made a video about that, talking about why in the hell Vader doesn't have his own little series.
Yeah, he should have it. I mean, they would say, well, why doesn't everybody have their own series?
Or at least a movie.
Do a Vader movie. What happened? Why his interaction with Palpatine? What happened in the 30-something years between literally, what we saw in Rogue One was just right before Episode 1 when Luke's like a teenager. What happened in between all that time? There's so much expanded universe and extended universe stuff that you could throw in there and make a really cool, good movie. And I think it would be successful, even if it was just one, a Vader movie or a Kenobi movie. Don't make them trilogies. Just make them a good, solid single movie and see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
It would be very, very cool. So with that in mind, don't forget to like, share, subscribe our channel here at Narik Chase, and notifications when we got new shows. Join us in the following weeks. We're usually here on Thursdays, about 8 o'clock-ish Central Time.
It's going to be somewhere between 7 and 8.
It's almost a guarantee somewhere in there. It just depends on what life's going on that day. But, give us some comments, give us some feedbacks. We love to hear from everybody. We've had some comments on some of our other channel or other postings. So definitely put in there, and maybe you'll get lucky and join us on one show too, because we like to have some extra bodies. MademB will join us next week. Stop winky. Get all cutie there. She'll be back next week for sure, because we're going to talk cheesy sci-fi movies.
Oh, come on.
No, we'll talk sci-fi movies, not necessarily cheesy ones, but some people will call them that. But it'll be fun. I'm very interested about seeing Sharktopus and Ice Trolls and Sharknado 1, 2, and 3, and Sharks Go to Space, and whatever else we can come up with for next week.
Saying sharks.
Oh my God. No, we'll save that for next week. I'll look up because there's a couple that came to mind real quick when I was just talking about that. So, but tune in next week. It'll be a fun show. So thanks for subscribing, liking, and joining us. Catch all three of us next week. It'll be a great show. It'll be fun. And until then, I think we're about to bug out of here.
All right, then, everybody. Y'all heard Ken. Walked us right on out that dome. We're about to close it and lock it up tight. And as he just said, we will see y'all later. Narik Chase, signing out.